My husband, Rob, is the kind of guy who minds his own business. He's not confrontational, he's not dramatic, and he definitely isn't the type to start arguments, especially not about politics. But the universe decided to test that patience every single day at his job. Rob works for a small, privately owned company, nothing fancy. They sell specialty equipment, and most days he works in the back room, which is basically a cluttered warehouse space filled with shelves, parts, and the constant hum of machines that should have been replaced a decade ago. It's not glamorous, but Rob likes it. Back there, he can focus. No customers, no pointless conversations, or at least that's how it used to be. But recently, a group of coworkers started using the back room as their personal political clubhouse. 3 guys. I'll call them Mark, Troy, and Linda, though honestly, Linda was the loudest of the bunch. Every day without fail, Rob would overhear them going off about politics, and not just normal discussion. No, this was the kind of smug, self-righteous commentary that made Rob's blood boil. He'd come home every evening frustrated but quiet, dropping his lunchbox and rubbing his temples. I'd ask, "Rough day?" And he'd sigh, "You have no idea." But the day that started everything, the day they crossed a line, began with a conversation about SNAP benefits. Rob was stacking inventory when he heard them. He didn't want to listen, but they were loud enough to echo through the shelves. Mark said, with this nasty laugh, "Honestly, they should just cut SNAP altogether. These freeloaders don't want to work anyway." Linda chimed in, "Right? Always expecting handouts. Maybe if they stop being lazy." And then Troy added, "My taxes shouldn't pay for someone else's groceries." Rob told me later that he felt his hands tighten around the box he was holding. He felt this hot wave of irritation crawl up his neck. Not anger, not outrage, just disappointment. Deep, exhausting disappointment. Because Rob grew up poor. Food stamps kept his family alive poor. He knew what it was like to watch your parents skip meals so the kids could eat. So hearing people treat that struggle like it was a joke, it hit him harder than they could ever understand. But Rob, being Rob, he stayed silent. He didn't argue. He didn't correct them. He just kept working, grinding his teeth, swallowing his frustration like he always did. That night at home, he was quieter than usual. I could tell something was brewing. The turning point happened a couple of days later when I was cleaning up the house and found a giant bowl of leftover Halloween candy. We didn't have kids trick-or-treat on our street this year, so we had a mountain of untouched sweets. I picked up the bowl and said, "We need to get rid of this before we both inhale it." Rob looked at it, then at me, and suddenly this slow, mischievous smile cracked across his face. He looked like he had just been handed the final puzzle piece to something he'd been planning in secret. I raised an eyebrow. "What?" And he simply said, "I'm taking that to work." Revenge brewing. When Rob walked into work the next morning carrying that giant bowl of candy, he said he instantly heard Linda squeal, "Oh, candy!" All 3 coworkers perked up like raccoons hearing a chip bag crinkle. They made a beeline toward him. And that's when Rob felt something snap. Not in an angry way, but in a finally way. He told me that in that moment he felt strangely calm, like the universe had handed him an opportunity wrapped in shiny foil and chocolate. He didn't raise his voice, he didn't rush, he simply waited until they were close enough to reach into the bowl. Then he pulled it away. All 3 stopped, like they had slammed into an invisible wall. Mark frowned. "Dude, what are you doing?" Rob tilted his head, pretending to think about it. Then he said evenly, "Oh, I'd offer you some, but I know you don't believe in getting handouts. Silence. Complete, stunned silence. Linda blinked rapidly. Wait, what? Rob shrugged. You said people shouldn't rely on free stuff. Wouldn't want to enable bad habits. He told me their facial expressions were delicious. Confusion melting into horror. Horror melting into embarrassment. Embarrassment exploding into pure red-faced anger. Before they could respond, Rob calmly turned around, walked up front, and set the entire bowl at the checkout counter with a sign that read, "Free for customers." Mark muttered something under his breath. Linda stomped back to her station, and Troy, he had the nerve to say, "This is ridiculous. It's just candy." Rob walked past him and replied, "Then you won't miss it." The fallout. Over the next few hours, customers happily grabbed pieces of candy. Kids were delighted. Adults smiled. The atmosphere up front actually improved. And the three coworkers, they kept shooting daggers at Rob anytime he walked by. Rob said he never enjoyed his job more than he did that day. Because his message was clear. If you're gonna judge people for needing help, don't go reaching for freebies yourself. Hypocrisy exposed, loudly, publicly, and with chocolate. Rob told me that around lunchtime, he caught all three coworkers whispering furiously in the break room. The best part, they tried to justify themselves. Linda said, "Candy isn't the same as government aid." Rob looked at her calmly and replied, "No, but entitlement looks the same on anyone." She went silent. That was the moment they realized the truth. They weren't angry about the candy. They were angry because Rob had held up a mirror, and they didn't like what they saw. Look, I don't think candy can fix hypocrisy, but sometimes people need a taste of their own medicine to understand how bitter their words can be. Rob didn't yell. He didn't argue. He just showed them exactly who they were. And honestly, it was the sweetest revenge I've ever witnessed. If that payoff hit the spot, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me the pettiest revenge you've ever seen at work. And of course, subscribe for more deeply satisfying stories like this one. You will not want to miss what's coming next.